Yeah, thank you, Clinton. So there are 23 million surfers around the world, and as Clinton so eloquently put it, I am one of them. I also have 5 years of experience working in a surf shop, so I can tell you from that experience that there is one question on every surfer's mind all the time. That question is, where can I surf the best wave around me right now? And that answer is not easy to find. As it is right now, if I wanted to know the answer to that question, I would go by myself in my car, drive up and down the beach, spot to spot, looking for a good wave. I would spend time calling my friends in hopes that they may have seen a better wave, or I would go to a surf forecasting website, which has a ton of maybe older data, really convoluted layout, and it also fails to account for local knowledge and how these spots at these conditions work. So we want to provide an alternative. WaveWise is designed to answer the surfer's single most important question with one look at a phone screen. We take live buoy data from the ocean, live weather data, and then we apply the invaluable knowledge of local surfers to the form of lots and lots of JavaScript, so that with these conditions that we get from our API, we can tell you that this is the best spot for you to surf right now. It's a hyper-local surf suggestion app that is brilliantly simple, informative, immediate, and is built and maintained by actual surfers.
When we set out to build WaveWise, it was really important to us that we created a very clean, simple user interface so a surfer could very quickly see the information that they were looking for. So when you open the app, you're immediately given a real-time surf suggestion on where to catch the best waves right now. And if you tap on the map, you can see some more detailed conditions about what's going on at that spot. A user can also use the menu to toggle between different locations within the app to see what's happening in other spots. And with the React front end, all of this data is rendered conditionally depending on where a user is located at any given time. Currently, WaveWise is servicing about 4 locations on the Wilmington Cape Fear coast, but can be easily scaled to incorporate additional spots in the future. A user can also rate the conditions of any given spot within the app. And this data is important to us because we will ultimately reference it against our suggestions to improve the quality of our recommendations over time. This will allow us to make sure that we're providing the most important suggestions and recommendations for surfers to make sure they're having the best experience out there on the waves possible. And finally, we have implemented a form that accepts user submissions on additional spots that they would like to see featured in the app. And this was critical to the future growth of the app since it relies so heavily on the unique knowledge that each surfer possesses of their local spot. So this tool allows us to essentially crowdsource data that we will use in future iterations of WaveWise.
The database that WaveWise runs off of was a challenge to build. We required a database that collects, stores, and sends data coming from not only the user, but also an external API serving up ocean and weather data. This posed a number of challenges, one of which was the 8,000 lines of ocean data received from each buoy for each spot. This is what I was dealing with. Another challenge was the limitations set forth by the API on how often we can request weather data. We were able to overcome both of these challenges with some creative coding. We built code that parsed the data and returned only the most crucial data points that the algorithm needed. Then we wrote a worker app that runs at specific intervals to update the surf conditions so our app is always up to date. To serve this data to the front end and the users, we built a RESTful API in Ruby on Rails. This allowed the app to request condition data as often as needed to ensure the app was always displaying the most recent information to the users. This also means that information is served up almost instantly to our users since the database is only storing the necessary information that the algorithm needs to make recommendations. This API is also used to accept incoming data from users for both recommendations and feedback on the surf conditions.
Thanks, Brandon. So what you all just saw was the user experience we designed, we set out to build when we first sat down and talked about this app, because it's simple, it's sleek, and it answers that question as soon as you open the app. This is where you should surf right now. And this is real live data when we recorded the video at Wrightsville Beach. Apart from that, we also wanted it to be really quick and really easy for users to contribute their feedback and new spots, because this is a community-driven database, and every one of those thumbs up and those thumbs down, they go a long way at keep maintaining that our suggestions are more accurate than anything else. And every form that's submitted goes a long way to hopefully providing a way that we can expand our technologies to not only be Wrightsville, but any place there's a coast and there's a wave. So there's no substitute for locals' knowledge, but now you all have it in the palm of your hand. Thanks.